Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon and welcome to yet another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. I have decided to bring you Green Gatcha today because I wanted to play around with it because originally, if you saw my picture from my box that I pulled, I got a Nene, which is big no-no. I did not want a Nene. Nene needs to go away and think about her life choices. But Dane from the group is kind of our big collector, so he wants a copy of everything. So he then said to me, look, I know you don't want this Zephaga Ace for any of your decks, but why don't you have this instead of the Nene? Might be able to trade it with someone else. And I was like, okay, we'll do that. So I traded the copy of Zephaga Ace. And then I realised Zephaga Ace is obviously very cheap in terms of being a level 6 that you can on-play and has an effect that on-plays, which means Jijimon can abuse it. Hence, Green Gatcha is back. So let's go into the list and we'll talk about what I'm currently playing it, as well as some tech choices that I've thought about as well. So starting off with the egg, I've gone for the EX4 Kokomon. Originally I was going with the BT11 Tanimon, go proper old school, but I just found we weren't playing our tamers enough to really get value out of it, whereas this, at least, we have quite a few different ways of suspending our own Digimon. Obviously not as much as kind of like the deck that this is really intended for, but Togemon suspends itself to trigger its effect. Lopmon gives alliance to things, which obviously suspends alliance here, alliance there, you know. So we've got quite a few different ways of doing things. This also, it's when an effect suspends one of your Digimon. So that even means HPD will actually trigger it to get a draw. So that's not bad in my book. So yeah, pretty good. Then we've actually gone for a Terriermon engine in Green Gatcha. I've been known to play Palmon engine in more of my kind of green toolbox decks just because I like the memory gain from that. But I went with the Terriermon engine in this purely because of the Lopmon, really, and the fact that we want to get our tamers out, so this Terriermon is great. We have also got the Memory Floodgate. Words. It's been a long day, and I was up until like 2 in the morning last night playing Digimon. I was playing around Sam's house. We wanted to play some matches, film some matches, and fill some deck profiles maybe. But Muggin's here, forgot his tripod, so no matches again this week. My apologies. Anyways, so Terriermon obviously stops your opponent from getting memory with tamer effects. You could play other floodgates, but just remember, you know, if you're playing Pomumon, for example, that's going to ultimately hurt you. So maybe don't. But you've also got the Terriermon and Lopmon. Terriermon will let you play a green tamer or a level 3 Digimon card with Lopmon in its name from your hand with a play cost reduced by 2. So it means that your Lopmon will only cost you 1, your Tigers will only cost you 1, and your Mimi will only cost you 2, which is not bad at all, and has that 1000 DP inheritable when the Digimon is suspended. Lopmon, on the other hand, has a main effect where it gives one of your Digimon alliance, which is really important when we get to our kind of level 6s and level 7s. 2 of them specifically. But it also has that 1000 DP inheritable as well. So pretty damn good. You know, just giving alliance to anything once per turn. And we have got ways of cheesing that effect out more than once. So, you know, which is pretty nice. Then going into our level 4s, of course we are playing, if we're playing Green Gatcha, we have to be playing Tortomon. This one essentially is really integral to one of your main combos in this, where you'll go into your Jijimon, you'll play out your tamer, then you'll swing in, obviously wanting to do your when attacking, but you first do the when attacking effect of this to reveal a green card from your hand and put it on top of your deck so you know what you're going to be playing. Which is really good, and then also by doing that you give yourself 3000 DP, which is pretty darn nice. So ultimately this deck needs another card like this because sometimes it doesn't come up enough, but Tortomon's still what we've got, and to my knowledge I don't think there are any other cards with this specific kind of effect. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. I am a font of knowledge, but sometimes that font runs dry. Anyways, next up is Togemon. Obviously, we want to be getting our tamers out as quickly as possible to make more of our Jijimon effect. So Togemon really helps us in that regard. When you would play a green tamer card from your hand, by suspending one of your green Digimon, reduce the play cost by 3. And of course, by suspending yourself, you trigger your Kokomon, get a draw. Pretty nice. Also has a great inheritable effect. When this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have green tamer, you reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. Then we've got Tyrannomon, again, another way of playing tamers. You play one tamer card with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying the cost, and as an inheritable of while you have a tamer in play, this Digimon gets 2000 DP, so helps you get really big, helps you get your tamers out. And really interestingly, seeming that obviously most kind of tamer players are like, if you have one or fewer of X tamer, or if you have none of that tamer, you can play that tamer. But with Tyrannomon, it's specifically you play a tamer card with a play cost of 3 or less. That's the stipulation. But it's any tamer, regardless of colour. And not only that, there's no stipulation on how many tamers you've got on the board. So if you go into this in the late game and you've got 3 tamers on board, have a 4th. Go for it. It's really cool. You know, and one of the better cards, I think, that came out of BT11, at least for green, and of course for kind of Tyrannomon strats. Then going into our level 5s, we've got 4 of Panyamon, another tamer player, not our final one, our penultimate one. Lets you play a green or blue tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. And again, no stipulation on how many tamers you've got. The stipulation is 4 or less. So, you know, it's actually the cost of the tamer that's the real stipulation, which is pretty cool, because it means, again, doesn't matter how many tamers you've already got out, you can still play another tamer, which is really nice. But the main thing why Panyamon is really important in this deck is when you play another Digimon by defect, one of your Digimon gains Rush for the turn. So essentially whatever you play out with your Jijimon or other kind of Digimon effects, that Digimon will gain Rush when you play it out, which is really nice. Then I'm going to go into the Antilamons first. Antilamon from EX6, it has Alliance. This is quite spendy for us to go into because we do not have the Tureimon or the Wendigomon. But, you know, we've got ways of kind of making our cost reductions a little bit cheaper. But having that alliance and playing out a green or yellow level 3 from your hand without paying the cost is actually really nice. Especially if you're going to go playing your Lopmon, you can, you know, go into this, play this out, then go, you know, give alliance for this and Digivolve up. And the other really cool thing about this is the end of attack. So by returning one of your other suspended Digimon to the hand, you may play one level 3 card with the Beast trait from your hand without paying the cost. All of our level 3s have the Beast trait, and if we've got given alliance with this, no matter what level 6 we go into, we can then suspend something with the alliance, end of attack, bounce that to hand, and then do it again. And what's really cool about that is, specifically speaking, if we've gone into one of our level 6s, given ourselves alliance with Lopmon already, after we've played it out with the when Digivolving effect, we can then swing, do whatever level 6 shenanigans we're doing, and then end of attack, bounce that Lopmon back to hand, and then play the Lopmon back out as per this end of attack thing, which then means you can trigger the Lopmon a second time to give you double alliance, which is pretty cool. You know, obviously you're going to need more stuff on board, but, you know, who's to say you're not giving that alliance to a new target, or, you know, something like that. So, say for example, you went into your Jijimon, which we'll be talking about next. You play something out, then, you know, Lopmon's there, give that thing alliance. You know, so this Antilamon, really, really good. So for the deck, obviously quite spenny, but like I said, we have got some ways of mitigating that cost, and it's just too good to ignore. Then, actually, we're not going to get to Jijimon just yet, I realised. One of Rapidmon Ace from BT19. On play when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, and then one of their Digimon or Tamers can't suspend until the end of the turn, so just a nice little way of stunning. We can get our level 4s out quite frequently because of all of our playing effects. So therefore, having this as a little ace target, having them as an ace target with this is really good. And as a your turn effect, of this Digimon gets 4000 DP, which just, you know, if we have got this, we have actually Digivolve on top of this, then, you know, it just really helps us with that. Plus, again, because this is an ace and it's only got that cost of 5, really helps Jijimon with playing more bodies out. And speaking of Jijimon, the star of the show, Jijimon. I friggin' love Jijimon. I've said on this channel before, I opened quite a bit of BT11. It was like the first set that I opened quite a lot of, because I joined back in BT9, only really at the end of BT9, played a bunch, you know, with singles. I basically just spent all my money, all my card game money, on building Greymon essentially at the time. So I did all that, including having to get a Black Ball Greymon from Canada. That was fun. But then opened a bunch of BT11 and I fell in love with Jijimon. I loved Jijimon back in Digimon World, and he's just such a cool little dude, cool little old man dude. I mean, who doesn't love an old man mentor, you know, dude? He's the Master Roshi of Digimon. He's awesome. You know, but essentially he does quite a lot. So you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck as is when Digivolving effect. You may play one Tamer card among them without paying the cost, and place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Because essentially this guy is pseudo black card, so you can Digivolve for black as well. If in an ideal world, he probably should have been green black. I'll be honest, but he is only green. Then he's got the when attacking effect, which is the real meat and potatoes of what he does. So for each green or black Tamer that you have in play, you reveal the top card of your deck, play any number of green or black Digimon, whose total play costs add up to 10 or less among them without paying the cost, and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So that is a lot of target. Basically, everything in the deck, bar Jijimon himself, is a target for that effect. Which is why we're not playing Medieval Gallimon, for example, and not just because I don't own any. But you know, so the Jijimon is just incredibly cool. We really love it, and you know, he's just such a cool guy. He's so cool. Plays out basically anything you want, and just great. Right, let's now talk about the card which kind of made me want to build Green Gatcha again, which is Zephaga Ace. Play cost of 8, so you can play it out for free with the Jijimon. Has Piercing, Vortex, and Blocker. It is very costly to go into if you have to Digivolve into it. It's 5 on top of our level 5s, and we do not have any play cost 10 or higher level 6s with Vortex Warriors to Digivolve on top of for 1. But he's got some really cool effects. All turns, when any Digimon suspend, this Digimon may unsuspend, which is really good. So that means essentially if you go into this guy, if you've given him Alliance, and you were to attack in with him. I mean, to be fair, even without the alliance, you don't need it. If you just attack in with him, you then unsuspend, because he has become, you know, he is a Digimon that is suspended. Bearing in mind it's once per turn, so you're not going to be able to cheese that effect too much. But you know, that is still really cool. And then as an on-play when Digivolving, you may suspend one Digimon. Now for every 2 suspended Digimon, you may return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. And the reason why that's a really cool effect is because it's an on-play, and we can play the Zephaga Ace off of our Jijimon. The Jijimon will actually be mid-attack when the Zephaga Ace is played, which then means if you don't have something else out, you can potentially suspend this to bottom deck one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. So you'll have a minimum of 2 targets. Obviously, that will rely on them having a suspended Digimon, but you know, even then. I know, saying that, you wouldn't have to suspend this. What am I on about? Sorry, I'm overconvoluting the combo. You just suspend one of their dudes, and because you've got Jijimon who is suspended, you've got 2 suspended Digimon on board, which then means you can bottom deck whatever you suspended on their side, which is really cool. So you can do that kind of full combo with that really nicely. It's got Piercing, Vortex, and Blocker. I can't remember if I mentioned, which is the other cool thing, because even if you don't have Panyamon to give you the rush, if they have a suspended Digimon out, we can Vortex into it, because Vortex gives you a pseudo rush and pseudo blitz. So, you know, really, really cool card. I have been testing with only 1 copy. I am increasing to 2. I don't really want to increase to any more than that, just because I like the versatility of this deck right now. But honestly, if I got a 3rd copy, I'd probably try it out, because it is really cool. Next up is Cherubimon Ace. Now, Cherubimon has an advantage over Zephaga in the fact it is play cost of 7. Whereas this, of course, is play cost of 8. So essentially, Zephaga Ace, if you were to reveal 2 cards, and you reveal the Zephaga Ace of one of a card, you can only play out the Zephaga Ace. But at the very least, if Cherubimon was played, you could, if the rookie was revealed, then you could play out Cherubimon and the rookie, because that's a combined total play cost of 10. Nothing else, but, you know, so it's only a small advantage, but it's still cool. But the Cherubimon is exceptional in this because of the fact it has Alliance natively, so it can get super aggressive. Has the on-play when Digivolving, may play 1 green or yellow level 4 or lower Digimon card from your hand without paying the cost. And then until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for each of your other Digimon. Sorry, hiccup. So, just an exceptionally good card. You know, it is still quite pricey, which is why I decided for this deck specifically to kind of bring up some tech choices, and I think tech choices are probably something we should do more often. I know Alex loves to do them when he's doing his deck profiles, so I want to try and start remembering to do it on the ones that I'm filming, because 9 times out of 10 I don't. But yeah, Cherubimon is really, really good. If we've given it rush with the Panyamon, we can swing in with Alliance and do just loads of stuff with it. It's exceptional. Then we've got 2 copies of Imperialdramon Paladin Mode Ace, and for the longest time I've been playing 3 of this, but I decided to bump up the Zephaga Ace to 2. If you wanted to have 3 of this, you could possibly put Jijimon down by 1, just bearing in mind obviously that's going to make less of a combo there. But the Paladin Mode Ace is fantastic because it is a level 7 with a cost of 9, and it is green. That means Jijimon can play it. Now I can't take credit for that combo because I said this in my last Green Gatcha video. The person who made me aware of that combo was Digipanda. I watched his profile on Green Gatcha a long while back, and the Paladin Mode Ace was something that he talked about. I think one of his friends at his locals had realised it, and then he put it onto YouTube. So I can't take credit for knowing that combo, but I can spread the good word. Jijimon is our Lord and Saviour. He plays out Paladin Mode Ace. But the Paladin Mode Ace is fantastic. On play, trashes every source from underneath everything else, and then if you then return all of the trash from either your trash or your opponent's trash, and if you returned a white level 7, you gain 3 memory. So if your other Paladin Mode Ace is in the trash, you can put all of your stuff back into the deck and gain 3. With the Panyamon giving it rush, you can then immediately attack with it. So when attacking by returning one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, unsuspend this Digimon. So the wider they've gone, the better that's going to be. Bearing in mind, we can give ourselves Alliance with the Lotmon, so you know that is exceptionally good. Just swing in, Alliance, bounce one of the things, unsuspend, 2 checks, swing, unsuspend. It's just, it's so good. It's such a cool combo, and I absolutely... Jijimon is one of my favourite decks because it's just wild fun. If it goes wrong, then you're not gonna have a good time. But if it goes right, it is exceptionally funny. And I just love this deck. Then going into the tamers, we've got 2 Mimis, Memory Tamer. If we've got level 5 or higher, we can hatch an egg or move something from the breeding area, which gives us a cheeky little extra swing potentially, so not bad at all. We've got Tiger in at 2. This used to be at 4, but I've since replaced 2 copies of it with something else, which we'll get into in a minute. You can probably already see who he is. All of your Digimon get 1000 DP, and when one of your green Digimon would Digivolve into a level 5 or higher card, but suspend this tamer, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So this is one of the ways we have of reducing cost. Also gives us that extra DP boost. The more DP we have, the less chance we're going to have issues being blocked and stuff like that. Then we've also got the Shoto. If your opponent has a Digimon gain 1 memory, this is the X7 Shoto, the incredibly infamous one because of his relation with Mommy Reaper. End of your turn, by suspending this tamer, one of your Digimon gains piercing and blocker to the end of your opponent's turn. If it has the vortex trait, it unsuspends. So what's interesting about that is obviously it already has piercing and blocker, but you can unsuspend your Zephaga Ace with that because it is a vortex warrior. So potentially doing the vortex shenanigans again, it's just really good. Yeah, absolutely fantastic kind of card. We all know how good this is, and yeah, it's great, especially because of that memory gain. Then going into the options, we have Hidden Potential discovered as our first option. Obviously only one of this because it is one of the most busted cards ever created. Next time one of your green Digimon Digivolves this turn, you may suspend one of your Digimon to reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 5. So that means this coupled with the Tiger means that you can go to Paladin Mode Ace for free on top of one of your level 6s. On its own, it means you can Digivolve into Zephaga Ace with no issues. Obviously, ideally, you want to be using it to cheapen your general kind of plays to make sure you get to Jijimon and do your full combo. But it is very, very good. Exceptional card. We've got 1 copy of Green Scramble. I wanted to put 2 in, but I couldn't really find a reason for fitting in 2. But it is great because we can do the thing, play 2, reduce the Digivolution cost by 3, which means that we only went into that Digimon from 2, which can make the difference. And then obviously we can return a green Digimon if your opponent has a Digimon in play at the start of your turn, from the trash to the top of your deck, and then if you don't have a Digimon in play, play something out, which is pretty good. So not bad at all. Then we've got 2 agility trainings, just helps us with searching our green cards and also reducing our Digivolution costs by 2. And then we've also got 2 Double Typhoon. So this one is in here. Originally I went 4 of the agility training and no Double Typhoon, but that was before I was playing the kind of Terriermon engine. The reason I've gone for 2 copies of this is we need to be able to search not only our green Digimon but our tamers as well, and hopefully add them to hand more. Obviously agility training can add both tamers and Digimon, but it's only going to add 1 card at a time, whereas this can add 2 potentially, which just helps us speed up a little bit. Also, because we want to go as wide as possible in this deck, having the delay effect of playing a Terriermon or Lotmon from your hand without paying the cost is really good, especially when if we play out the Terriermon, we can play out a Lotmon. or a Tamer, and if we've got just a Lotmon in hand, then that means we can get Alliance, which is just really good. So this really helps us with going wide.
Hello, Josh from the edit here. I completely forgot to mention the security effect of Double Typhoon, which could really come up, so make sure to keep it to account. Essentially what it does is, if it's checked in security, it will suspend 2 Digimon on board, so it just helps to stall out the turn and stop you from getting rolled over. It'll then go straight into your battle area, so you can then set up for your Terriermon Lotmon plays on the next turn. So yeah, apologies I forgot to that. Anyways, back to the recording me. See ya!
That's my current build for it. Let's jump out of this screen and we'll go take a look at some tech choices. And here we are, we've got some tech choices. This is quite a lot of different tech choices, so I'm not going to read them all out verbatim, but these are some ideas that you can go with. I didn't come up with any different eggs, but you could play many different kind of green eggs like Gummymon or something like that. But in terms of rookies as tech choices, as I mentioned earlier, the Palmon engine is really good. Being able to suspend stuff, gain 2 memory, suspending with the Palmon X, gaining memory when you're playing your Tamers can be really good for this deck. The cost reduction from the Palmon as well, really good. So can be really good. And as I mentioned, I used to play Palmon engine all the time. The Tinkermon is a potential card as well, especially if you've got more 2-color Digimon, just reducing the cost of those. Or if you're playing hybrids in this, which is a possibility, you could play green hybrids. But the main reason I went for it is because it is a piercing inheritable, and that is the same reason why I've gone with Monochromon, Dromogimon, and Zephyrmon as potential tech choices, because one of the things I am missing in this Green Gatcha deck build is piercing inheritables. We have piercing on Zephaga Ace, but that's it. We could really use a piercing inheritable in this deck, but it's just finding the room to have that. So I mean, what would be really nice is if something like the Torsomon was, instead of a DP boost, it just gave you piercing instead. When you put something on top of the deck, that would be cool. But just not a thing, obviously. Then continuing on with some of the level 4s, obviously we've gone over these already. Diatrimon, also another piercing option. Suspend stuff, it's quite cheap to go into. In terms of playing out, this is quite cheap to Digimon into. Rapidmon, expensive to play out with the Jijimon, but it does have blocker, which can be really nice. Can Digivolve quite cheaply on top of the Terriermon, so not bad. In terms of level 5s, had to include Jagamon as a tech choice potentially, because of the fact this one and the Mame Tyramon, both very, very similar cards. I probably would end up playing Mame Tyramon over Jagamon, just because this only costs 5, so you can play it out for really cheap off of Jijimon. But both of them have the same effect of revealing the top 3 cards of your deck, Digivolving into a green level 6 card among them without paying the memory cost. So you can, if you've got your Tortomon underneath either of these ones, you can stack the top of your deck with a level 6. When you're attacking in with these guys, usually when attacking, go into that level 6. Now, obviously, because of the way timing works, you would not be able to use the when attacking of your Jijimon, which is why I've ultimately avoided them. But you could do cool stuff like going into Zephaga Ace, for example, or Cherubimon, so not bad. Then other level 5s, I've got the Parrotmons. These are in here because this one has a security effect, which is cool. It suspends stuff on play, which is also cool, but gives you an unsuspending option when deleting an opponent's Digimon in battle, which again would be really nice along with piercing inheritables. Again, another piercing inheritable off here, the Structure Deck Parrotmon. Suspend stuff, stop something when suspending, not bad at all. Metal Tyrannomon, not piercing, but does trash Digimon, does trash your security when you delete something in battle with the inheritable, and then also gives you layers of protection. Suspending itself, if it's suspending something, if it's suspended, de-digivolve 1, and then you can't be bounced or de-digivolved, which is pretty good. Rapidmon, another option for protection, same inheritable as the Metal Tyrannomon. One of your opponent's Digimon, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, sorry. Then if you have a green tamer until the end of your opponent's turn, your opponent's effects can't delete this Digimon or return it to the handle deck. So very similar protection effect to this one. Obviously this one does deletion protection, this one does de-deletion. Then in terms of other aces you could play, because Cherubimon Ace and Zephaga Ace are a little bit pricey, you could potentially play something like Saberleomon Ace. I did this for a time. On play, 2 of your opponents suspended Digimon get minus 8,000 VP into the end of the turn. So that's not bad at all if you've got 2 suspended Digimon out. Has a when Digivolving when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then if you have no unsuspended Digimon, this Digimon unsuspends. So coupled with the Alliance from the Lotmons, for example, that could be really good. Hercules Capitarimon only costs 6, so that's really cheap. To play out with the Jijimon, and potentially if you've revealed more than one, that opens up how many other Digimon you can play out. Suspends up to 3 Digimon. Each of your opponent's Digimon this effect suspended gain 1 memory, so that's really nice. Wider they go, the more you're going to get. And then if this is suspended, until, as an alternative effect, until the end of your return, one of your Digimon gets piercing and 3000 DP, so another piercing source there. Jijimon Ace, also really cheap. 3 more security, suspend something, gain DP. If 3 or more, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck, so not bad, and also kind of unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects if it is suspended. Rust Tyrannomon Ace could also be good as well. Suspends everything with DP equal or less to itself, which, because it's a level 6, 12k, that is a fair amount of stuff. Also trashes the top of your opponent's security stack if it deletes something in battle, so that's not bad. I of course had to talk about Medieval Gallantmon in this, and you know, I'm still so salty that the one I ordered never arrived. I've got the refund for it now, but I ultimately would have preferred to have the Medieval Gallantmon, even just 1 copy, because they're so expensive now. Jesus. It's to the point where Sam didn't manage to get Medieval Gallantmons, and he is now contemplating selling Zephagamon, because he can't shed out on 80 quid cards, because for 1 deck. So which absolutely makes sense. Yeah, you could splash Medieval Gallantmon in a lot of things, but for him specifically, he doesn't want to play a lot of stuff. So, but we all know how good Medieval Gallantmon is. I ultimately didn't play it because A, I didn't manage to get one, and B, because it's 11 play cost, you can't play it off of Jijimon, so I would think you still wouldn't play it. But we know how good this card is. I'm not even going to go into it. We know it's fantastic. Going into BT21 for a second, the Puppetmon Ace could be a good one when we get to BT21. 7 play cost, so we can play it with our Jijimon. Reboot and blocker. On play when Digivolving, de-Digivolve 2 one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of their suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So obviously that second part of the effect does need them to be suspended, but could be a good choice. Not a bad option at all. Then in terms of level 7s, these guys obviously can't be played out by the Imperial Digimon Paladin Mode Ace, but Valdemon could be good. We can get the DNA off because we're playing yellows with the Cherubimon Ace, for example. The Partition, Security Tap +1. It's, gains memories, suspends stuff. It floodgates by stopping on-play effects of Tamers and Digimon and stops things from unsuspending. It's just fantastic. I freaking love the Chaosmon deck. We have got a profile on that if you guys wanted to check that out, and I was playing it last night, and it did incredible. I've beaten Royal Knights with it. I've beaten Seedramon, which is not as impressive, but it's a really, really good deck, guys. Sorry, gushing over it, but yeah, good tech choice. Quartzmon as well, also a good choice for that control. And then in terms of kind of options, Green Memory Boost could be good just to help you with digging deeper. Giant Missile for removal could also be good as well. But those are the tech choices I've kind of come up with for the deck. Like I said, I didn't want to go into them verbatim, so this deck was going to be, this profile was going to be really, really long. And it already probably is quite long. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, ding that notification bell, and let us know what other kind of things you want to see, and also what matches you guys would like to see as well, because obviously we've had a bit of a lull in matches recently just because of availability and kind of product not being not being available straight away, and time, I'll be honest, because recently Dan, who helps with the editing, has been very busy with his job, so he's not been able to help me with the editing recently. When it's just me editing 3 videos a week, it can be pretty tough. But I will try and see if I can get some more matches out if you guys would like to see more matches from the channel, because we are ultimately a channel that was built upon the fact we were doing profiles and matches every week. So I would like to try and get back to that, or as close to back to that as possible. But anyways, enough from me. Like, subscribe, ding that notification bell. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and we'll see you on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.